It's a good day for a good day. Hello, everybody. My name's Cece Ray. Thanks for joining me here at Break the Dish, where we break the news and dish out the tea. We are recapping The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 17, Episode 5. Let me tell you, the ones that got into it, shocker. Like, I was not expecting that. But before we get into it, you know what to do. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, because here we break the dish. We are recapping The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 17, Episode 5. And this episode starts out with Cynthia meeting with Adrian Malouf. That's a flash from the past. If you don't know who Adrian Malouf is, she is from The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, original. I think she did season 1 through 3, if I'm not mistaken. The Malouf family owns a lot, especially in Las Vegas. And so Cynthia is partnering with Adrian for her tequila line. So she's explaining to Adrian that she's going to take the girls to Dallas because she's hosting this gala there. And I think she's going to be also, that's where she's going to be presenting her tequila line. So we see all the ladies boarding the plane, a nice Stella private plane. But before they board, Pinky decides to say a prayer. Now, the pilots are all involved in this and everything. Everybody's holding hands. This prayer went on what seemed to be for hours. I mean, the pilots were probably like, lady, come on, we want to get up in the air. You know what I mean? So while they're flying, Pinky and Angela are chatting about bankruptcy, and then somebody asked Michelle, because, she had just got married a few weeks before they started filming. I'm not quite sure what that's about. If they got a prenup, she said, no. No prenup. And even though she believes every man cheats, that's what she said. Her man has no social media, doesn't really go anywhere, so she's going on that. I think the relationship is a little weird. I mean, maybe we just haven't seen it. Maybe he doesn't like to film. But there's something just not right about that. You know what I mean? So Cynthia in her confessional, she's saying, look, I'm not a stranger to a runway. She's laying the red carpet out for these ladies. So when they get off the plane, they're going to walk the red carpet to the Sprinter. From the Sprinter, they're going to go to the house. They're going to figure out rooms. And then they're going to have a peaceful dinner, Cynthia style. Cynthia, girl. You knew it wasn't going to go that way. So on the Sprinter bus, the group is asking Drew about her date with Black. And Drew says he brought her 200 roses. I'm not quite sure that was 200 roses in his arms in the restaurant. I'm just saying. She did not kiss him. They're just friends. I don't even believe that, to be honest. I mean, even Porsha was like, the man was on the phone with you for 3.5 hours straight. Remember that at the dinner? It's a little crazy. And then Drew turns around to Michelle and she says, well, you're friends with them. Michelle's like, I don't know that man. But then we recap, okay? Remember when it was Kelli, Porsha, and Michelle? And K. Michelle is saying, like, Black keeps slid into my DMs, telling me I'm so fine, giving me his number. That could be an issue later down the line. I'm just saying. Um, so on the way there, they stop at this like kind of like trucker, rest stop gas station type deal. And we find out that Shamea's family used to run a trucking company. So now this chick decides to start explaining that the restrooms are never clean. So what you do is you take a cup, you go into the bathroom, and you pee into the cup. Then you proceed to pour the urine in the toilet so you don't touch anything. What? I don't even like to pee in a cup for a urinalysis test. She's like peeing in cups all around gas stations and rest stops and even Pinky said, "Why are you peeing in a cup?" They arrive at this beautiful, beautiful estate called La Casa De Fe. It has 25 acres, a main house, 2 guest houses, a barn, a driving range. It's beautiful. The main house is 9,600 square feet. It has 6 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, 2 kitchens, a theater. Like, it's got all the bells and whistles, The pool house, which is next to the pool, obviously, is over 2,600 square feet. It's 2 bedroom, 2 bath. That they also have a kitchen in there, but that's considered the staff kitchen. So when they cook, that's where the staff cooks. And then I guess they bring the food over to the main house. I'm not sure why, because I think the main house has 2 kitchens too. So I'm not sure. Then there is the tiny house, which is only 1 bedroom, 1 bath. So Cynthia decides the rooms. She gives Pinky the tiny house. She feels like, she needs a good break, 1 bedroom, 1 bath. She gives the pool house to Kelli and Shamea because she felt as though they're the best of friends, so they would probably vibe in this house. Well, right away, these two start complaining that they're in this pool house. Now, get this. The house, they've only seen it once, okay? The house is over 2,600 square feet. I don't think a lot of people's homes are 2,600 square feet, to be quite honest. I mean, or it's close to it. You know what I'm saying? The average person is what I'm talking about. So, they're already complaining. These two, okay? Then the rest of the ladies, they have to now go hunt for their rooms, which every bedroom in this main house is beautiful, okay? So, she tells them, you want to start changing your clothes because, they're going to have dinner there. So Angela goes over to the pool house and to see Shamea and Kelli. And they're sitting at the pool, got their feet in the water. And these two are not happy at all. They're like, it's dirty in there. We shouldn't be in here. Freaking fracked or whacked. They're the ones that should be in here. Well, Angela, she can't keep anything to herself. She's going to run and blab her mouth, right? So Porsha's at the table first for dinner. Pinky's there too. Well, Pinky turns around and tells Porsha, those two at the pool house was dirty. It hadn't been cleaned, so they didn't get a chance to take a shower, so they're not coming to dinner. Matter of fact, Kay Michelle's not coming to dinner either because her glam didn't show up. You're joking, right? Girl, you are on camera. Like, you're not going to the gala tonight. Now, I can understand going to the gala. You're only with the ladies. Filming. You're on camera. Whether your glam came or not, you're still filming. That's a little crazy if you ask me. So Porsha turns around and says, well, did anybody tell Cynthia so that the house could be cleaned. And then in Porsha's confessional, she says, they really should come to dinner. Cynthia went out of her way. They should give her a little grace. Absolutely. Hello. Talk about rude. We do see a recap where they're on the phone with Cynthia, telling Cynthia that the house was dirty. Of course, Cynthia's going to make sure it's cleaned. Any good hostess would, you know. So now we see K. Michelle, Kelli, and Shamea at the pool. And K. Michelle's explaining to them that she's not going to dinner because, she doesn't go anywhere without glam. You are filming. Hello. Then Kelli starts talking about her ex, how he did this press conference with people, holding signs, showing their children, trying to take she was trying to take his parental rights. And she's explaining how, he doesn't want time with the girls. He just wants to inconvenience her, She's really upset that he went to that extent, like exposing the children when they knew nothing about what was going on. And he's also stopped the kids from filming. She has hit complete rock bottom. And so she just starts bawling her eyes out. And Shamea says, look, you've been strong for your parents. You've been strong for your children. Somebody has to be strong for you. Girl, we got your back, So now we're back up at the dinner, which is, they're outside on this deck. So literally, you can see the pool from the deck and vice versa, Weird, right? And the event planner is talking about how they're going to have a spring salad, pan-seared chili and sea bass. And she's going on about the courses. And in Cynthia's confessional, she's explaining that she's using this dinner as a tasting. So every course is being paired with a different tequila of hers. And it's kind of like a prep for the upcoming gala that she's hosting. So everyone's at dinner, minus those three, down at the pool, right? And right away, Angela's like, she couldn't wait to say this, I'm sure, but, Kelli was saying frickin' frack, it's whack, and they should be at the pool house. And Pinky says, yeah, they're seeing it as a dig. And then Angela turns around to Pinky, and she's like, you're bringing some hostility. This is the chick that just started saying frickin' frack was whack, by the way. Pinky's like, no, I love Cynthia, and then Porsha jumps in and she says, Cynthia, this is a beautiful dinner, beautiful home. She's trying to turn it around. And Drew says to Porsha, have you spoken to Kelli? Because remember, they had that whole thing. Porsha's like, no, I sent flowers. I thought it was a gesture. Remember, she sent flowers to the opening of her restaurant. And Kelli got on the phone and said, yeah, broken flowers from a broken person. Pinky says to Porsha, well, she said something first, right? And Porsha's like, yeah, I knew that. She's like, she said the exact same thing to me, but it wasn't true. And then in Angela's confessional, she's saying, what's the appeal of sleeping with a married man? I'm a wife. I took my vows. She's kind of giving Porsha a side eye on this one because she's like, especially after what Porsha said about her husband last season. Remember that? So then right away, Porsha's good. You got to give it to her. Talk about deflection. Hello. Right away, Porsha goes, I want to move forward. I like Kelli, but there's other things in the group that haven't been talked about. Well, everyone's like, what? And Porsha says, Pinky, Phaedra, are you too good? Because remember, Pinky got a hold of a rumor that Phaedra was saying she eats meat when she has her business as Slutty Vegan. And she says, well, we spoke about it, but, they start talking about it. Well, come to find out, Phaedra was on the phone with Shamea, but she said before she had this business, she had a Jamaican restaurant. Now, that probably did serve meat. That was years ago, is what Phaedra's talking about. She didn't say she eats meat now. However, Kelli is the one that actually said that. Did you forget that you're filming? I mean, like roll the tape type deal. So in Shamea's confessional, she's like, I think production is telling her, like, yeah, Phaedra never said that. And so she's like, oh, crap, like that's another apology I got to give. Because remember, last season, she went on this, after the reunion, she went on like her YouTube channel or whatever and was like, you know, I'm so sorry if I hurt anyone. Remember that whole thing? So now we're back at the pool with, Kelli and K. Michelle. And Kelli says to K. Michelle, how's the album going along? K. Michelle starts explaining how, every 6 to 8 weeks, that's when they release the singles, and then they make up an album. Cynthia comes over to the pool house to check on the girls. She's like, I made sure that they had somebody going in there to clean the house. Again, I'm so sorry. But are you guys okay? Like, is that the only thing? Because I'm getting that you're angry. And they were like, well, we were angry at first. Pinky is right. Like, we were angry. But, we're good. We're good. They are not good. Trust and believe they are not good. So up at the dinner table, Pinky says, I feel like, the house is divided. And I have no problems with anybody. And Angela kind of gives this look. And Pinky says, if you got something to say, like, say it with your chest, girl, Angela says, you come across bothered. Pinky's like, well, you're no threat to me. Like, I don't understand why you feel that way, And Angela's like, yeah, you're given bothered. Like, you made it about me. I don't know where this is coming from, by the way. I don't think anybody else knew where this was coming from either. So just like, hold on, because it's a big ride, okay? And so Pinky's like, bitch, like, I don't have anything. And Angela says, you canceled Christmas on all your employees. What? So Pinky's like, what are you talking about? Angela's like, you owe everyone. Pinky says, girl, I have money. Angela says, oh, okay, Mr. Clean, like, don't do it, Papa Smurf. What is going on here? So Pinky says, that it's so funny to see this argument. She says, I heard that. And she goes, you should look into getting some new veneers from what's going on there. And Angela says, not the way your teeth commingle. And Pinky says, oh, don't stop the menopause. And Angela's like, tell me when you get your business back. Pinky says, bitch, I just bought my business with cash. Angela's like, you didn't. The lies you tell. Pinky stands up. She's like, you can kiss my ASS. Angela's like, you got investors looking at you. Pinky's like, the only people that are looking at you are the ones with lash glue. Angela's like, you mean the one that you borrowed from me, girl? Pinky says, let me tell you why you're a hating ass bitch. And she like goes to stand up. Angela's like, where you going somewhere? Pinky's like, I'm not going anywhere. Actually, I'm going to tell you. And before she could finish that sentence, Angela turns around and says, I don't need a lecture. Pinky says, I thought I liked you. Angela's like, I thought I liked you too, but I don't like you now. Pinky says, let me tell you why I don't like you. You sat in front of my face. The fact that I'm going through what I'm going through with my business, F you. You know, your husband don't even like you. Angela says, well, at least we don't have a live-in wife in the basement. What? What did she say? Like, the entire table was like, what? I actually rewound. It again right there because I was like, what did she say? A live-in wife in the what? I'm telling you, this argument came out of nowhere. So, of course, Pinky's like, what are you talking about? Now, meanwhile, the three that decided they could never come to dinner heard all the commotion going on and made their way not only up to the deck where dinner was because they were having dinner outside, but now they're sitting at the table. Now, why couldn't you have just sat in the table and had dinner anyway? You see what I'm saying? Well, because they heard something was going on. Oh, no, we don't want to miss that. Let's get up there. I mean, don't get it twisted. I'm sure production was like, do you want to go up there and find out what's going on? Or do you want to stay down here? But these three, these three, well, maybe not Kay and Michelle, but the other two, they jumped up because they don't want to miss a thing. And in Kelly's confessional, she says, Angela probably does have a wife in the basement. She just doesn't know it. But Pinky says, you won't disrespect me. Angela says, you won't disrespect me either. And Pinky says, I've got millions in assets. You must be obsessed since you know everything about me. Angela says, I don't know anything about you, okay? You know enough about me to keep the conversation. Pinky says, what color is my... I'll let you fill that blank in. Angela says, I would never. You're not that attractive. Pinky says, take the wig off, the lashes off. Let's see how you look. Angela says, I'll still get the same man. Pinky says, you would look like a boy, Damon. Well, now the whole table's like, who's Damon? Even in Shamea's confessional, she's like, every Damon I know is handsome. Like, well, I don't understand this. So Porsha says, you just pulled that out of the air. And Pinky says, I don't want to argue with you. Angela says, if we could take it back, your tone comes across a little aggressive. And in Phaedra's confessional, I love me some Phaedra. In Phaedra's confessional, she says, it wasn't on my bucket list to see like the war of the words between these two. They are the same people. Like, I love it. Both in a lot of debt. But in Drew's confessional, she says, I'm confused about Kay Michelle, like her energy, like, she doesn't want to eat. She doesn't want to sit. Like, I haven't gotten to know her to like know how she is, but it's given a little cranky. And in Cynthia's confessional, she says, well, that was the dinner from hell. But a lady of faith, Lord, ensure us that we're going to have a good time. And please make sure Shamea and Kelli leave me alone about the pool house. And that's where the episode ended. That was a little nuts. That argument came out of nowhere. I mean, I was like, what? What's going on? I mean, like, even the whole table was like that. They were not expecting that at all. So, if you were going to rate it, what would you rate this episode? I mean, like, it had its funny points like that. I think it was a 7, like a solid 7. What do you guys think? What would you rate it as? I'll tell you what. Angela and Pinky, where the hell did that come from? I mean, that argument, like, literally came out of the air. I was not expecting that at all. I mean, these two are going at it and saying like crazy stuff, like, at least I don't have a wife in the basement. What? Where is this coming from? That was the shocker of that episode. Like, I was not expecting these two to get into it. I mean, they literally pulled that argument out of the air. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. No history, no nothing, getting along fine. Just pulled it right out of the air. Crazy. Crazy. But what did you guys think? Let's keep the conversation going with the comments down below. And before you do, you know what to do. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, because here we break the dish.